and welcome to Tween Tuesday. I'm Miss Cindy from the South Brunswick Public Library. I don't know about you guys, but I have definitely never ever been known as someone with a green thumb, except for right now, because my thumb is a little green from paint. But I've never been known as somebody with a green thumb. I have struggled to keep plants alive. It is definitely not something that's easy for me, and I kind of gave up at this point. But I do still kind of like having plants and flowers and all that stuff around. So today's DIY is for people that might be like me and struggle to keep plants alive, or maybe you're not like me and you just like doing crafts. That's fine too. Today we're going to be working on a kind of simplified rock painting succulent garden. If you don't know what a succulent is basically kinds of desert plants. So like aloe is a succulent, cactus is a succulent, stuff like that. They're plants that grow in sandy soil, don't require a lot of water, and they're actually really, really beautiful. They're very chill plants, they don't require too much care. They grow kind of thick, and they will poke you sometimes. If you have ever touched a pointy cactus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to take some rocks from outside, or you can buy some paint, and we are going to make our own succulent garden that will definitely never die, never need watering, never need any care. So let's go. Let's get started on our faux succulent garden. Let me show you what you're going to need first. You're going to need a pot or a planter of some sort. Mine is kind of small, so I'm probably only going to be able to fit one here at a time. That's fine, I have a few. Rocks, I got these from outside. So if you already have rocks in your garden and your parents are cool with you going ahead and taking some, that's fine. You can also buy decorative rocks. It's all good. Green paint, white paint, or a black marker. If you have like a white paint marker or anything like that, that would work too. And what I'm using to fill my pot is sand. I got this from the dollar store. It's just decorative white sand. You can use gravel, you can use regular sand like from a beach, you can use dirt or potting soil, whatever you want, it's all good. So this is super, super simple. What you're going to want to do first is paint your rocks. Let's pour out a little bit here. I think instead of my janky old paintbrush, I'm going to use my slightly less janky, smaller paintbrush. I'm using tempera paint because it dries fairly quickly and it's non-toxic. It's also easier to wash than like acrylic paint. But if you already have a different kind of paint at home, feel free to use it. I would say except maybe watercolor paint. Watercolor paint is not going to show up as well. That's the only problem I have with paintbrushes. Sometimes they are fuzzy. Here we go. I'm only going to paint this part of it since it's going to be resting. So if you're doing a few of these, it's best to paint in parts. So like right now, just this part. For this one, just this top part. And let it dry, and then we can flip it over and do the other one. And you don't have to use this kind of green either, specifically. You can use a darker green or a lighter green. You can mix. I'm actually going to add a little bit of white to this green and mix it to make a little bit of a lighter green for my other ones. That was not enough white paint. Watch, it's going to be too much white paint now. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's good. Plus, I'll get kind of a nice swirly effect. So I'll put it down. Paint. Okay, so I would say these are pretty dry and we can get to the fun part, which is decorating. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of different patterns that you can use. So first thing I'm going to do is grab my paintbrush and get some white paint. I'm just going to put over here. The simplest design you could go with is just dots. You can space them out symmetrically if you'd like. Put them in a line. Or you can kind of put them wherever your heart desires. Sometimes things in nature are symmetrical and sometimes they're not, so there's really no wrong way to do it. Plus, I am a firm believer of the idea that there is no wrong way to do art. If you like the final product, if you didn't hurt anybody along the way, then I would say you have successfully made good art, regardless of whether anybody else likes it but you. I'm not going to go symmetrical with this one. And I will do the other side once this side is dry. You don't have to. If your garden is only going to face one direction, like one side, then you don't necessarily have to bother with both sides. But you can if you like. It's really all up to you. Okay, so I'm going to leave this just for now. Another pattern, and I'm going to move this over to the side, that I got white paint on me. Another pattern that you can do is the kind of spikes. So if you know about cactuses, you know cactuses are pointy. The spikes end up looking kind of like little crosses when you look at them forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint a line, nice thin line. I don't want it to be too visible necessarily. It's fine if it is. Okay. Now this part is kind of tough to get, so make sure you have some patience and as thin of a paintbrush as you can get, or a nice big rock so that you can use a little bit of a chunkier paintbrush. You're gonna make an X, and I don't know if you can see, but the X is right on the line where the two meet. You're gonna put a line through that. You're gonna put a line through that. And you can keep doing that roughly along the line. The line is just there to keep you even. Now I chose a very small rock to do this on, so I'm only going to get to do like 3 or 4 of them, but it's fine. It's mostly just to show you guys what the pattern looks like. So I'm going to skip this line and go for it. Gonna go over this last one. That is the second style. The third style involves a little bit of mixing. So I'm gonna get my old janky plate back because it was already dirty, so why not? Added in some green. And I'm gonna put in a little bit of black to darken it up a bit. All right, I'm going to use my little wooden stir here. Well, that may have been too much black. That's fine, I can always add more green. But I don't know if you've heard me say it before, but I'm pretty sure I've said it before. If you're doing something like this, always mix it, always stir it. see how the final product is before you decide you're going to add more of something. See, look at that. I thought it was going to come out kind of black, too black maybe. But no, it's just like a beautiful dark green. Okay. So I'm using another paintbrush here, slightly thicker one. And I'm going to paint these dark green lines roughly equal distance. It will look kind of like a watermelon. This one's got to be a little thicker. There we go. Let's say there's one there. Okay. Now we're going to do what I told you guys before, which is use my Sharpie to draw the stars on here. It's a lot easier to do it with a Sharpie than it is with a paint pen. Again, X, up and down, left to right. Basically, you're making asterisks. X, up and down, left to right. And I'm going to do this on the light green parts. It's very important that your green paint is fully dry for this. Not the stripes we just made, but the base color. Otherwise, you're just going to make a big old mess. And I'll do some here too. A little harder, so let's rotate. All right, I'm going to let that dry because I'm later going to paint white dots on these darker green parts. And for this one, I'm going to take this dark green paint that I made and just draw lines, kind of going up. I think I'm probably going to use the thinner one for this. Again, right in this dark green paint, and just lines all the way up. Oh, that was more of a blob than a line. All right, mostly done. Okay, back into the white for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thinner white line just kind of in the center of the green line. So just kind of a dash. Soft dash. Doesn't have to be as large as the line. It's mostly like a highlight. You want a very light hand for this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of heavy-handed. I tend to accidentally break things when I don't mean to. I'm a little clumsy. So it's very difficult work for me to be light and delicate. But it's good practice, because sometimes things require a delicate touch, and you have to be ready for those moments in life. And you don't even necessarily have to do every single one of them. Whoa, that was more of a blob. Alright, now that that one is done, I'm going to paint on my lines. This isn't perfectly dried, but it is mostly dry, so I'm not going to stress about it too much. And now I'm going to do my dots. I'm holding it up so you can see it, but it's definitely better to be doing this on a flat, stable surface. Okay, that is done. Now we just have to wait for this to dry, so I'll see you then. So these babies are mostly dry at this point, so I'm going to get going with the other part. Grab your pot, put your substrate in it. Substrate is the base part, basically. Sand, soil, gravel, whatever you got. I'm using this white sand. It's actually got some rocks in it, so I'm going to plop those right over the top. And I would fill it up a lot of the way through, because you're going to need to bury the cactus somewhat to get it to stand up. So you want to make sure that you don't go too deep. Because if you go too deep, then you're not going to be able to see it. So let's rearrange. This one is done. I have another one here. Again, put more of my dollar store decorative sand on it. Put these rocks right on top. Now the big one here is gonna go, and let's say the little one can go here. And we are all done. These will never die. These don't need any sort of care or maintenance. And when you're done with them, you can just put them out as painted rocks outside if you really want to. So that's that. Okay, so that is it. It's a few steps and a little bit of drying time, but once you're done, you have a really cool succulent garden. You can add to it, you can make it bigger, you can get a few different pots and kind of scatter them around. It's super simple to do and a lot of fun to just sit and zen out and just decorate your cactus. Alrighty, so that is everything I've got for you guys today, but I will see you next time on Tween Tuesday. Bye.